All right, let's start. Welcome to the webinar. It is titled. Well, the essence of this webinar is that it's the easiest and the cheapest time in history for anyone to become an entrepreneur. How it started is that actually I tweeted something in the week saying it is the cheapest and easiest time in history for anyone to become an entrepreneur. And I mean it. I mean, so many things that were not possible some years ago are now very much possible, and they're possible cheaply. And I realized that this is the essence of what I've been writing in my books, that it's cheap and easy. What I mean by an entrepreneur, I mean being an entrepreneur these days, it's so cheap that it'd be crazy not to pursue it, or at least to become an investor. And because it's so cheap, a lot of people talk about the stock market, but there you're not really in control. Well, you can do it, but you can start an entrepreneurial venture on the side as well, with investing in the stock market. And plus, I mean, the stock market, we don't really know what's going on behind those companies. We just going off with the confidence that maybe this company has been performing well, and I'm putting my money in it. So which is good, I guess, to diversify your money into different investment pockets. And in this essence, in this webinar, or rather, I just believe that an entrepreneurship venture, it's so cheap that it'd be crazy not to do it. Let me start it off with telling a story of maybe formally it was my first business, or rather the business that I love, that I always wanted to do. It was Gable Height clothing. So we were making clothes. Well, was it my first business? I've done a bunch of things. I'm not counting the sweets that I used to sell in high school. I remember there was I think my first company was called At Large Communications. We claimed to make logos. What would happen is that you would pay us to make a logo, and then we would pay like a professional graphic designer to design the logo. I mean, later on I learned how to design logos. I learned how to do websites. I guess that's really formally the reset business. But Gable Heights clothing was my love, because from a young age I always wanted to make clothes. So when did it start? Was it I think 20 when was it? I don't know if you guys, everything is going well. You can hear me. Someone is saying bring them on camera. I'm not sure what's happening here. It's my first time really doing okay, no, I almost brought him on camera, so it's just me talking here today. So Gable Heights, was it 2009? I think 2009. But researching that business, I took probably a year just researching it. What we did is that for our first line of t-shirts, we were comparing it to the likes of Diesel, Replay, and we went for we didn't want to just buy t-shirts anywhere else and print on them. We decided to make everything from scratch. So we went around looking for proper sort of luxurious fabric that would suit the price. And I remember we sold them at a t-shirt at $350. This is 2009. That was quite expensive for that time's pricing. I see a lot of brands now, they still sell at like $250. So I guess we're expensive. So we found this fabric called it's called baling. I can't remember it quite perfectly. It was baling something. Anyway, and we the printing. If you could Google, you'll see the t-shirts. Just Google Gable Heights clothing. Later on, you'll see it has like a sweet feel to it. That thing alone, I think, was $60, and fabric was like 30 rands per square meter. So to make one t-shirt, I think you need 1 square meter. I don't remember the details, but I think it's around that. So we bought that, and this is something we call CMT, the manufacturer, the guy who's going to, you know, sew those t-shirts together, that fabric together, cut it and make it. They call it a CMT, cut, make, trim. We did that. I think per t-shirt, $60 plus 30, it's what, 90. And I think one t-shirt to make was about 150 rands. So we made, was it 50 or 30? I don't remember the details, but I'm just, you know, explaining here. 50 by 150, so around 7.5. It's not really a lot of money. So okay, we made those t-shirts. I think they were 30 or 50, just like, or 100. I can't remember the details now. I mean, it was 2009, and we did that. And I remember, you know, the first week, second week, you know, people were really buying. I remember Destiny Man magazine called to feature us in their magazine, which they eventually did. So, you know, people love those t-shirts. The exposure was quite huge, and we sold a couple of t-shirts in the first 2 weeks. The third week comes, excuse me, the third week comes, our customers are calling us, say, yo guys, your t-shirts they're shrinking after we wash them. And like, oh god damn it. So we had to refund some people. Fortunately, I think most of the buyers were our friends, so they didn't, you know, bother us with refunds. So that was the first lesson, that if you're going to do something new that you haven't been into, do it small. So if I had to do it again, I wouldn't have printed or made 30 t-shirts. I would have made maybe 5, maybe 7, maybe 10. So that it becomes extra cheaper as well. So the essence of this story is that, you know, you don't really need a lot of money. It was cheaper than to get into the t-shirt business. I mean, if you spend like I don't remember the actual figures, but it wasn't more than 10,000. So still, it's relatively cheaper to start such a venture. So now what I'm saying is that don't do 30 like we did. Do maybe 7, do 5, because you're testing. You don't really know what will go wrong. So I'm just showing that then it was cheaper to start an entrepreneurial venture. Today it's way cheaper. I'll just give a stupid metaphor. It's the story that I like telling in most of my talks. I'll connect it back to the story of Gable Heights and really starting cheaper. So some years ago, I think really around the times of Gable Heights, you know, I went on a date. How it started is that a friend of mine said there's a female friend of hers who's she's single. She's looking for, you know, a suitor, a nice guy who's confident, who's ambitious. I thought, you know, I meet that criteria, and you know, I decided to go for it. We went on a date. I remember, you know, she was sitting across me, and I had a BlackBerry. It was an 8220 or one of those Blackberries. I mean, BlackBerry was the ish, and she had like this small Nokia, an ugly one, by the way. Anyway, so you know, when you're on a date, you start asking each other, you know, the demographics, what do you do, where you from, all those questions. And you know, guys are expected really to be the ones bring on the conversation, but for some reason that day it happens. You know, I wasn't really, my game was whack. You know, I couldn't make the conversation, and there was silence on the table. And yeah, now I go into Facebook as I'm with her, because she's also on a phone, and I see a status saying, yo, on a date, I'm with this guy, he's boring, what a waste of my Sunday. And you know, I kept on browsing, and then I went back. I realized the person saying that is a lady just across me. That was, you know, one bad, you know, a date gone wrong. I wish I had the guts to say, let's play 50-50, because, you know, there are dudes who do that. I wish I had the guts, but, you know, I didn't do that. Maybe one day I'll do it. Anyway, So suppose you. So I'm giving you this trick. I'll take it as a metaphor. I'm gonna connect it to the Gable Heights story of starting small. So say you're looking for a girlfriend, right? And as you're looking for a girlfriend, you are interested in 3 ladies. The typical thing to do is to what? To take them all out on a date. Well, of course, not all at the same time. Well, let's say a date is how much? I'm gonna be a bit humble with the price, and I guess it helps with the mathematics. How much does a date cost? A typical one, 1,000 rand, 750. Let's say it's 500 rand. So if you are interested in these 3 women, it will cost you 500 with each lady on the date. It's 500 times 3 is 1.5. So you go on a date with them separately, of course, and say there's the one that you like out of the 3, and then you're gonna take her on another date. Suppose she also likes you and she agrees to also go on the date again with you. I'm gonna try this lighting thing again. I think this works much better. Okay, so yes, okay, the date. Suppose you went on a 3 days with the 3 ladies. It was 500 each, so in total is what, 1.5. I'm not even counting the cost of petrol of getting there. So you pick the one that you like. She likes you, supposedly, and then you go on another date with her, and then this time you wanna up the stakes, take it up higher, and then you go for what? You say, I'm gonna spend 1,000. So you do spend that 1,000. So whether she dates you or not, but your total will be 1.5 for the first 3 dates and 1,000 rands for what? For the second date with the lady that you like. So it's 2,500. So here's what you do, and this also applies in business, that you should start small. Let's go back. Let's backtrack. Don't take them on like a proper date. Say do a coffee date. Suppose a coffee date. I mean, if it's a coffee date, it's like just 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Whatever. You're just gonna have coffee. You wanna have cake and whatever they have. Though I don't like sugar, you can just compromise, I guess. If you like me, you don't like sugar. Say it's 200. So for the 3 dates separately, of course, it's what? It's 200 by 3. It's 600 now. Okay, and then out of the 3, say there's the one that you like, that you want to take on a second date. You do this. You take on a date. Say you're going to spend that 1,000. So all in all, you'd have spent how much? It will be 1,000 plus 600 for the 3 past dates. So it's 600. My math's not always good. So it's 1.6. 1.6 minus 2,500. So the old method of taking all of them on a date, you're spending 2.5, but taking them on a coffee date and taking the one that you do like on a proper date, it costs you what? It costs you all in all 600 plus 1,000, 1.6. So you'd be saving 900. So in business, again, it's like that. You start small. You don't ever try to, because you don't know really how things will go. You test the market. If people really like your product, and then you go manufacture more. And then with the first, imagine if it's clothing. Say, yes, for example, it's clothing. Unlike us, we didn't know that you need to pre-shrink clothes. That's why they were shrinking when people bought them and washed them. So what we should have done, and which is what we did when we did our second batch of clothes, is that you pre-shrink them. So we didn't know that, and then obviously in business you're bound to make mistakes. So but in starting small allows you to not have big losses when you make those little mistakes, even if it's a big mistake. In our case it was a big mistake, but we are grateful. There was no way that we were going to learn that. If it wasn't that, it was gonna be another a lesson that was gonna come through a loss, or a mistake that costs us money. So this is just business. So I'm saying, if you start small, it's cheaper. also the mistakes you might incur, they are also cheaper. Now, the lesson from this, like I said, is that you should always start small. So hence, the theme of this webinar is that entrepreneurship today, it's cheaper. It's so cheaper to become an entrepreneur. You should actually do it. Maybe let me jump to another story just quickly. So some days ago, I met a female lady who wants to get into making cosmetics, and she's got this little brilliant idea. I think if she makes that cosmetic, let me not say what it is. Once she makes it, that product, it's going to be quite unique, and I think it's going to be sort of the only one in the market, and hence I encouraged her to do it. And basically, I'm also interested in investing in it. You might think when I say investing in it, I'm talking a lot of money. So some years ago, I did a business plan on sort of a similar business. I already know the cost, and I was telling her where she should go to manufacture this cosmetic product that she wants to do. I already know the cost by head. That's the nice thing about always investigating your interests. You get to search for different things and quotations. Well, I already got the business plan, but just that her concept is quite unique. It wasn't what I wanted to do before, but it's kind of like similar. It takes that product to another level. So she's going to spend anywhere between 5,000 and 10,000. And you might be thinking, when I say invest, I was talking a lot of money. I could contribute like 2,000 rands in that business, and she could up and run. It's not like she has the money, but just for my my own selfish reasons, I want to get involved in it. And why? Because I have got sort of platforms where I can market her to luckily, having been an entrepreneur for some time, I've been I've got platforms. I own platforms. I co-own couple of things that have large audiences where we can plug her in. One of the audiences got like over a million followers. So I'm not saying that it's going to work like if we market it on our platform, it's going to work, but I'm just showing you that if I get into it, I'll be bringing in some value proposition. So, but I'm saying, imagine being an investor for 2,000 or even 5,000 or even the whole amount of 10,000, but which is something that I wouldn't do. I would also wanted to put our own money in it. So this is what I mean. Like, things are so cheaper to make that particular product. Probably 10 years ago, because now you can make it for that particular flip manager. I haven't said what it is. It used to be that maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years, 15 years ago, to make such a particular product, the manufacturer would require you to make thousands of units. And today you can do like 50, you could do like 100. So why is that? Because technology has really advanced. They are no longer just big machines for making things. They are smaller machines for manufacturing different things. I'll give an example with cold drinks. I'm sure many years ago, to get into that business, or even beer for that matter, you'd have to manufacture with those big manufacturers. There were not little machines. You'd have to buy those industry size kind of machines that make maybe 1,000 units per production round. But now there are smaller machines that you can manufacture 50. I know with beer there are even home brewing kits. I've been researching on alcohol. I've visited a couple of distilleries. They make units in 100 units Before then, it was a lot of, you have to do like 1,000, and that obviously is expensive. As I'm saying, it's easier and cheaper today to try an entrepreneurial venture. So with this lady, I'm just showing to you that, if she allows me to invest in it, I wouldn't be spending a lot of money, and it's not like I have a lot of money as well. It's not like she also has a lot of money, but we can pool our resources in together. So it's very cheaper. Another thing that we're doing is that all the clothing brands that we used to make, we're bringing them back. Why? Because it's hectically cheaper. When we started Gable Heights, to make a website, probably you had to pay like 5,000. Today you don't really need to pay anything. You can just do what? You can go to, you can get a Shopify store. It's just a plug and play, and it's so easy to build a website with Shopify. What you pay for, it's sort of to host with them, which is like about $400. So you just have to make sure that whatever you sell, your overheads, you can cover that $400. Remember, 5 years ago you'd have to pay 5,000 to make a website. Today you don't have to. It's actually free. You just get onto Shopify, and you pay 500. It's for the hosting. It's because it's a e-commerce platform. So it's like a store. It's a plug and play store. So you're basically paying for a website, plus you're paying for e-commerce platform. So it's cheaper. So another thing that we're doing, that we're adding another clothing brand. I'm not 100% involved in it, but I'm part of it. I can't explain on what level, but I'm putting in some money. So I'm gonna show you that we're not really spending a lot of money on this as well. We actually we paid for the trademarks today. So a trademark is what? It's 590. So we do 2 of them. So it's 590 by 2. It's about 1,000. My maths is not always good. It's what, 590. It's about 1.2. So yeah, and to make the samples, we already got the quotes for it. It's going to cost us not more than 1,000. So it's like 1,200 plus another 1,000, which is 2.5, just to make the samples, and then we get the stock onto a Shopify website. And then we do maybe pre-orders, and even with the manufacturer, we're not going to do a lot of units. We're going to do maybe 5 or 10. Just gonna watch how the pre-orders fare out, and we get it to market. So it's very cheap. It's cheaper. This year, maybe my partners wouldn't be happy with me sharing this. We were working. Yeah, last year we were working on a brandy to bring it to market. And it's quite expensive, because that one, not a brandy. Yes, it's a brandy. Yes, it's a brandy. It's a VS brandy, a South African VS brandy. It's 3 years old. It was supposed to come around June, to get to market around June, but COVID happened, and I ended up charging some of the money that I had saved up for it. And I guess it's kind of like the same with my partners on it. So we decided we're taking another route. We're still gonna bring out the brandy, but just it's expensive, because the minimum units on that, it's quite a lot. And then we're taking a detour. We're gonna do a brandy. The minimum units are cheaper. It's not like 1,000 something units. It can do 100, like I said before. So it's cheaper in that way. We can afford it, but we're still going to do the brandy. But now we're going to do a gin. Again, it's just the gin part. It's something also that I'm not fully involved in, but I'm partially involved in. And as I'm saying, it's easy to be an entrepreneur these days. It's easy to be kind of like an investor. So as you can tell, this is kind of like my business philosophy. To get into a bunch of entrepreneurial ventures, you don't have to be the main person. You can act like an investor. So because it's cheaper to get into entrepreneurial ventures, you can then be an investor, man. Like, imagine 2,000, help your cousin who's studying a clothing brand or whatever. And obviously it's something you have to have faith in it, or you have to kind of like understand if it's going to be a success or not. I'll give you just quickly how I sort of analyze certain things. Like for example, with alcohol. Say we do 200 units. Obviously it's got an expiry date, but 200 units, damn it, man, we've got, all of us combined, we've got a huge volume. We can sell all those bottles, even if, you know, it doesn't take off. We can always sell them off at cost and recover whatever money that we have put into it. And it doesn't expire. Alcohol, again, you know, I read a bunch of articles sort of bigging up Bonang, Mateba, and Zintle. They got into the alcohol business. What I was saying is that alcohol, it's I'm just showing you how to analyze businesses. I call this the convenience metrical. Alcohol, first and foremost, is not like clothing. Clothing, every season you need to design new clothes. Alcohol, you don't need to design new designs. Just one, what do you call it? One formulation. You take it to a distiller, they manufacture it. If you need more stock, if it doesn't work out, obviously you can just sell it off. So that's the other way. And alcohol, people drink alcohol daily. Some weekly, some monthly, but they drink it constantly. So we can always sell it every week, and every week you're selling the same bottle, the same formulation. When it finishes, you go and manufacture some more. So I'm just showing you how to sometimes analyze products. Let me just give another example. So I write books. I write entrepreneurial books. When you buy my book, you buy it once, you read it, maybe you shelve it or you give it away. So you won't particularly buy the same book from me. But say you're making roll-on or even alcohol, and then you get your customers, they will buy it. Roll-on people buy it when every month. So maybe roll-on is better than books, but I read books because I love them. But I'm just showing you how to sort of analyze different products. But you know, for that, for how analysis of products works, go get this book. I don't know if you could see it. Township Biz Adjacent. It's available in all bookstores. It sort of goes in depth into analyzing those sort of things. Which product to go with? Because obviously here I'm saying it's easy to get into entrepreneurial ventures and it's cheap, but you need to have sort of foresight on how to analyze it. Perhaps I'll do a workshop on how to analyze different products. But me, I believe in doing things that I love. I write books because I love them, but I get into other businesses not necessarily just out of love. Some I love them to a certain extent. Some I love them like fully. Like I love the writing entrepreneurial books, but also I mean publishing. Just for example, so we publish other people. It's like a proper business there as well. So it's not necessarily there just for the money. It's sort of trying to build a legacy, like a proper business legacy, in terms of a business that could always, you know, be there when I'm not there, or I could even sell it. Because with books, when you're a publishing company and you own a percentage in a book, you own it forever, or unless you sell it. So that's one of the ways, I guess, you can just think of analyzing products. But this book, it's got, you know, all the information on analyzing different products. All right, let's go on. Like all these things I'm showing you here is that it's so easy, it's so cheap these days to get into an entrepreneurial venture. So I was saying that, you know, we are bringing back our clothing labels. I showed you that today it's actually free to get a website. I mean, even if you can't build a website, man, outside Shopify, there are other platforms where you just buy a plugin. That thing you can learn in a week if you don't have money to pay someone. Is it 1,000 or 1,500 to build a website? It's cheap. If you don't have that money, you can go onto Fiverr. You can get someone to build you a WordPress website for like 400. Just give them a proper brief of what you want. They'll code you. They give description. Things are so cheap today, you know. Even to make an app, if you want to make an app, because 5 years ago it was very expensive to make an app. These days it will cost you around 20,000 or even less. Sometimes it could even be more, because the coding is already there, the plugins are already there. So when you're paying someone to build you an app. They just bring all together all these plugins that already exist. They just, you know, the calendar plugin, a checkout plugin, all these, you know, different. They just bring them in. The other day I was researching on having a dating app, and I think the cost that I saw were around not more than 10,000. It could be more, but because it was just a rough search, because that's what I do when I'm bored. I research a couple of things. I'm not going into that business, or at least not now. Years ago, I told you that my first company was at Large Communications. Used to do logos. So for a logo, we charge a person. It was 1.5, sometimes 1,000. Today, to pay a graphic designer 500, go on to Fiverr, get someone to do a logo for you for 500 or less, even 200. Or you can use Canva to design your own logo. I guess it depends, you know. I mean, if it's a clothing brand, then that logo has to be super good. It has to be fucking good, even if I have to swear. So there you'd have to pay someone who knows what they're doing. But for other businesses, man, a good enough logo will do. A 200 logo will do. Even if you search on Facebook, there's someone who's promising to design a logo for you for 200. But I like Fiverr, like paying people on Fiverr to design logos for me, because there at least there's a level of accountability. They won't run off with my money. If I'm not happy, they don't get the payment. And then Fiverr, then if it really drags on without us, me and the designer, resolving our issue, Fiverr gets involved. So I like Fiverr for that reason. It's easy to be an entrepreneur. It's cheap as well, and you can even act as an investor. One advice is that if you're investing in someone's business, don't stifle them, man. Don't act all, you know, like, you know, all these people that studied, you know, entrepreneurship in school, be it an MBA, whatever. When they get into sort of investing kind of things, they act like they know it. They stifle the poor entrepreneur. They take a lot of equity. Don't take a lot of equity, because just gonna depress whoever investing in, and you're gonna fuck it up if you do. Just, you know, things are cheaper. You can become an investor, so don't be a dick and stifle people. You know, give them freedom. What you can do is get them clients and just help them with proposals if you're looking for funding, those sort of things. But why look for funding? Because most businesses are cheap. Someone might be saying, okay, then getting into the property business, it's not cheap. Yeah, it's not cheap, it's expensive. But imagine if you were to get a bond, if you're working, that's how I guess you finance a house. They need to see that you produce enough, you know, or any property that you produce enough income per month. Maybe it's a salary. What a bond means is that you are paying small amounts every month. Again, that's in a sense also cheaper. But you know, mistakes with very expensive investment like a bond, they are not like a business wherein you go in with only 5,000. So a business like that, you know, when you make a mistake, I guess even the, you know, the pinch is higher, the stakes are higher. Your mistakes will cost you a lot of money. But I'm just saying, things are cheaper, you know, outside property, whatever. I don't really know much about property. I'm just giving you an example. I think I'm going too fast. Maybe let me relax a bit. And thanks guys for staying on. What I wrote this topic, or rather subheading, funding. Where do you get funding? If you've got a job, that salary, you can use it as funding. Like I said, it's cheaper to get into most businesses, to start most businesses. 5,000, I think that's really the minimum to start most ventures. I think so. You know, unless if you want to go to the moon, and then I guess you're really, you know, betting high. So that's another business that's hard. So get a job. If you don't have a job, get a job. Get a salary, make money, make events, make anything, do anything. Sell Herbalife. Use whatever skill that you have. You know, if you don't have a skill, get a skill. Do an event, sell something, make money. That's how you're going to finance your own business. It's called flipping. You make money on one end and then you put it on another end in another venture. So either you get a job, you do small time piece jobs. If you have a skill, you know, use that skill to make money and really go and invest in your business or whatever pursuit that you have. If you think you can sing or you like singing, buy equipment. It's cheaper today to record. Like things are just cheap. You don't need a big studio these days. You can buy microphones. The internet that's nice is YouTube. You can check out which equipment to buy that's cheaper, that will really allow you to make good recordings. If you are a DJ, buy the damn equipment. Practice at home. You are investing in yourself. If you don't have that money, make a plan to get that money. Like these days, man, you can teach yourself skills. There are skills that you can learn. Is it graphic design? Is it anything? Building websites. In a month, you can really learn a skill that you can make money with. You can learn photography on YouTube. There's so many ways you can actually raise funding. It's called flipping. You make money on one end and then invest the proceeds from that venture in another thing. They usually use this term in the property business. I don't know if I could see comments or questions. If you have, I don't know if you will punch them in. I haven't used Facebook. Actually, this is my first time using Facebook Live, so I'm trying to learn how this thing works. I think also I'll take some questions. Let me see. I don't know how this thing works. I'm touching these buttons here. Checking. So there are no comments. If you've got comments, pull them through. But the gist of this is that it's the easiest and the cheapest time in history to be an entrepreneur or to be an investor. I told you, if like a minimum venture, most ventures cost 5,000, you can be investing in that, man. You can raise 2,000, you can raise 5,000. And the nice thing about investing in someone's business is that you're not the one actually doing the business. Someone is doing that business for you, not sweating, and because also you're not putting in all the money, so you'll benefit from their effort. I don't know what will happen. I'm going also on my Facebook here. It's showing me that I'm live. Okay, I'm seeing myself. I don't know if it'll use my computer's camera. Questions. I'm gonna try to see if I could. Okay, it's live. Ayanda, I see you. Adam, I see you. Sponi, sorry for pronouncing. Eve, sorry for mispronouncing your name. It's Simbi, so I see you. Let me see. Yeah, if you've got questions, I don't know if you want to join me on this live thing. I don't know how this thing works, but so I've been talking for like what? I think it started officially at what? At 20 to 15 minutes before 9. So I mean, that's the gist of what I'm saying here, that it's easy these days to be an entrepreneur. People talk of the stock market. I do use easy equities just to buy little shares and see what's happening. Oh, flip! We bought MTN shares some was it a year ago, and they dropped hectically by what? I don't know, over 80%. I don't know, because I don't follow those things. It was like a stock fell, but they dropped drastically. So that's the scary thing about stock market, and when you put a lot of money into it. So yeah, so if you're gonna use the stock market, also do like, it's so cheap and easy. Like, I implore everyone to get into entrepreneurial ventures and do this sort of things. It's so easy. What else? I think I've covered most of the points. This video it's gonna be on Facebook, and also we're going to put it up on YouTube. So I still implore you guys to go get this book. It's in all the bookstores, exclusive books, bargain books. It's on Take a Lot. All the bookstores. So I've got 5 books in bookstores. It's Forget the Business Plan. Use this short model. The second one is Township Biz Adjacent is this one that I just showed you. The third one is Township Biz Fastrack. So there are 2 books. The one is Township Biz Adjacent. The other is Township Biz Fastrack. There's Tales of an African Entrepreneur. Did I mention the Anxious Entrepreneur? I did. What book am I forgetting? Yeah, sometimes I just forget these things. But yeah, all my books are in bookstores. Go get yourself a copy. And on Amazon, I released a book called Understanding the Fourth Industrial Revolution. That's the one I'm doing a workshop about next week, Wednesday, same time at 8:30 p.m. CAT, Central African Time, because I'm gonna, have this video on Facebook, and we're gonna add Facebook ads to it and broadcast it, or rather advertise it to the whole world. That's the beauty about in today's days. When I started Gamble Heights 2009, was it 9 or 8? Just I confuse the year sometimes. I don't know if there were Facebook ads or I was stupid enough not to check, but the amazing things with Facebook ads is that they're cheap. I'm bringing back the point that it's cheaper to start entrepreneurial ventures. It's like $10 a day just to advertise on Facebook to whatever audience you want. It could be people in Soweto, in Mamelodi, in Sentin, wherever you want, or the whole of South Africa. If you're doing them for 31 days or a whole month, it's about, you're looking at 310. 10 years ago, there wasn't Facebook, there wasn't paying 10 rands a day to market. You had to buy a big billboard, which would cost you hundreds of thousands. I don't know, maybe 80, 100, 200, depending where it's located. The other one, or you had to buy radio slots, advertise on radio. It was expensive. So today, you can buy a portion of ads, like Facebook ads on Instagram, on Twitter, on different places. So this is the ideal time to be an entrepreneur or invest in an entrepreneurial venture. And even investing in your own business, it's you being the investor. So I'm happy to say I've been an investor. I am an investor. I invest in myself. I invest in my businesses. So it's that. So to me, it's just being an investor and entrepreneur, just one and the same thing, because it's so cheap. And I'm stressing this. It's so cheap to do these things. I think I've covered enough. I don't know. I'm not seeing any comments, questions. If you do not have, I guess I will call it a night. Let me see. Still nothing. All right. By the way, like I said, this video will be up on. It will be up on Facebook, and we're gonna get it to Instagram as well. Let me allow you guys to join me. I'm just gonna see what happens here. If anyone wants to come live, ask questions, you can do so. Yanda, I see you, Adam. So yeah, if not, in the next few minutes, less than 5 minutes, I'm gonna shut this webinar down. In the past I always get nervous to do this sort of things, but I guess with practice I get less nervous, and I love that sharing what I think is beneficial, what's working for me. So this thing, my entrepreneurial journey has been tricky, it's been hard for me, but I'm finally seeing what I'm doing, what I'm building, and I'm grateful for that. So hence I'm sharing this sort of things, so that it doesn't have to be hard. What was hard for me doesn't have to be hard for you as well. With that said, thanks guys for joining me on this live chat. Well, not a chat, it's a webinar. Thanks for joining me. Thanks a lot. And then good night. It's been lovely. Cheers.